I just finished the For Honor single player campaign that you can also play in co-op. I finished the first chapter in co-op with a friend on realistic, so the hardest difficulty, and the other two chapters, the Viking and the Samurai, on my own. And I'm here to discuss if I liked it or not, if you should buy this game for the single player campaign. Let's just start with that, and I think that is not the case. This was really something that was put into it because they could also put it on the box. I mean, they say, yeah, we have a campaign as well, so if you like to play with your friend or on your own, you can also do it. Well, the heart of For Honor is really with the competitive multiplayer, and that will be the mode that a lot of people will play. The single player campaign is around I think I finished it in 7 hours, so also unrealistic, that's the hardest difficulty. Then you will not see the art of battle system, so you will not see if your enemy is hitting you from the right. You see gameplay right now, you have to just look at the weapon, so that is actually pretty fun. But then I come to one of my first complaints about this single player. There's just simply not a lot of unique assets used for this single player. This means that you are still fighting the same heroes that are in the game over and over again. So when you take out or when you go and fight a samurai base, you will just find a Shigogi, a Orashi, a Nobushi, and yeah, that's it, right? And I can't say. So that's all the enemy variation you have. You have these soldiers as well, and that takes you a little bit out of the experience as well. All the soldiers, of course, that are known for the Dominion mode, they're of course also in the skirmish mode in the game. They look the same, so when you have your whole army of Viking soldiers, they all have this beard. It takes you out of the experience, that's what I'm trying to say. And when the For Honor campaign is trying to do something unique, that's where it shines the most. I will not spoil it because those are actually the most fun parts, but there is some stuff that they specifically made for this campaign. So you will walk through some maps that you will recognize, but there are also new environments that you haven't seen in the multiplayer maps, and there are also enemies. Not a lot, like very little, but still, it's awesome to see them do something new. But they could have done way more with that. If they really had different types of enemies for the single player that we simply can't fight in the multiplayer, that are simply not the characters that we can play ourselves, that would be way more fun. But that also shows you that this was kind of a afterthought. And this story is also why it looks like an afterthought. It really looks like some sort of play. It's like pretty small, while it's really going about war between the three factions. You have like this small group, and you're like killing a bunch of other guys that, for example, the knights that have left their post. So you are going to kill them all, and stuff like that. There's just nothing really exciting, and the ending is also like super stupid actually. Some of the dialogues are simply not interesting. It's like super thin. It's like not a lot of thought put into it. So that's what also really sucks. Also, if you want to play the single player for the like rewards, that's also something I thought, okay, it's cool, right, that some stuff that you do in the single player gets transferred to the multiplayer, but in the end, this was not really as much as I hoped. So you can find like these breakable vases and crates and stuff like that. You can break them and maybe find some steel or an emblem or something like that. So yeah, that can be carried over to the multiplayer, but the steel is like 10, so it doesn't really make sense. And if you kill an enemy, then you can level up. The stuff like that is like solely based on the single player. So if you play the raider in the single player, you will not have that level when fighting in the multiplayer. Makes a little bit of sense, but would be cool if they did some sort of crossover between that as well. Speaking of the heroes you can play in the single player, you can choose. It's really, now you're going to play the raider, now you're going to play the Orashi, now you're going to play that guy. So it's not a lot of variation, and what if you don't like the character that you have to play all the time? Well, that sucks. Or if you're simply not good at the character, because I know from trying all the characters that some characters just simply don't feel right for me, and if you have to are forced to play that character in the single player, that really sucks. So of course you fight a lot of AI, and I think the AI in For Honor is pretty good. The bots you can fight really have a challenge. It's not like, I'm against the bot, this is going to be fun. No, they really did a great job at making a great AI for this game. And that's of course necessary if you want to train, or if you fight against the bot while you're waiting for other people to join in your multiplayer match. So that really makes sense. But in the single player, this is still the case. Great AI, but they can be very manipulative. So for example, if some enemies are in a building, they can't leave that building. So okay, once you know that, you can just stand outside, rest, wait for your heal to like get back from cooldown, do your heal, get back into the house and start killing them. So stuff like that. And also with the Raider, you can of course easily throw off people from the edge. Well, you can do that as well here, and it's pretty easy with AI. If they just block, you can just grab them. While of course with real enemies, if there are real like players, they know that they don't have to stand near the edge if you're against the Raider, stuff like that. So stuff like that makes it a little bit more easy. If you kill the enemies though, because that's another thing, running like past the enemies is also a great tactic, because sometimes it just says reach the gates or something like that. So you can just run past everyone. At the gate you press circle, I play on PS4, and then the cutscene starts. And bosses, you still have to beat those of course. Sometimes you have to kill invaders or whatever, but if you don't have to kill enemies, you can just run past them, and it doesn't matter. I mean, in games like Dark Souls or Bloodborne, killing enemies gives you souls, makes you a better player. While the XP that you get from killing the enemies in this game doesn't really matter. At level 8 or something like that, you have a great like a range of feats that you can use. Of course, we know them from the multiplayer. So passive ability that you get some health once you're out of combat, or an active ability that you, for example, can heal yourself. But once you figure out that the one where you can heal yourself, it's like a cooldown of 15 seconds or 20 seconds. It's super slow, super fast that you get that back. And you also have an active ability that makes your attacks unbreakable. So you can just hit that one and start spamming, because the enemy can block your attack, or it's very hard for them to block your attack. So that's very effective. So if you find out, okay, those two skills are the best options I have, then there's no point at leveling up, because the only thing you get from leveling up are these skills. So it's like no real reward to kill the enemies that come across your way. They're just irritating, and they're all the same. It's I'm going to attack a Raider camp. It's a Raider and a Berserker, and it's just nothing special. And they could have done way more with this, but yeah, like I said, it really shows you that this was, I don't want to really say an afterthought. There are some cool things in the game, and of course it looks really amazing. So to attack a castle from the samurais, or this Berserk camp, fight against the knights, it all looks very amazing. So that is what really helps this. The idea that you're doing this is super awesome, but then the gameplay and stuff like that, I mean, you see that they've tried. Sometimes you see, for example, them doing some variations that I will not talk about, because that's really a spoiler that you want to see for yourself. And I think, okay, that's cool. And they do it one time. It's not like they introduce an element and then the next few campaigns, missions, you will get to do that element again. No, it's really, that you just do it once. It's awesome. Move on to the next thing. But there is so little of that you want to have more, because that's actually what makes this single player great. That's my take on the For Honor single player. Finished it, like I said. I did get, I think, a lot of steel from it when I finished it, but I'm not sure because I got like 6,600 steel right now. So that's really a lot. Thanks a lot for watching. If you have any questions about the For Honor campaign, let me know in the comments down below. Expect more For Honor content, but I'm very busy right now, so I also have a lot of other stuff coming up. But be sure to keep checking my channel for For Honor content. It will be up hopefully soon. So I have some ideas that I want to continue to do. Thanks a lot for watching. I will speak to you next time. Goodbye.